Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. So moving on, we're gonna end on kind of a funny note.
Oh?
Trump has hawked himself to the repo man. So again, this is a bit of an older article. There have been developments since then, or since this. So this comes to us from the New Republic, but I like this one because it goes into just most of the news coverage this recent doesn't really go into just how sketchy the company that is underwriting Trump's bond is. It's a loan shark. Trump is getting a loan from a loan shark for his bond. Like, that's how desperate he is.
Maybe he's considering that he'll die at this point before he'll have to pay it back.
Maybe, but there's also some interesting things in their contract where, like, you know, they're guaranteeing the loan, but also not. Like part of the contract is, yeah, it's actually Trump that's responsible for it, not us, which like completely defeats the purpose of having them underwrite it. I don't know. It's weird. So when a business lends money to a guy who A, routinely stiffs his creditors, and B, may become president within the next 9 months, that merits a certain amount of scrutiny.
Yeah.
So
just a bit.
Yeah, there's Chubb. I don't know what Chubb is. I think it's a company or whatever. They're the guys that did the $91 million bond for the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit, which Trump is going to lose on appeal. But that drew so much unfavorable press for them that it probably persuaded Chubb's chairman, Evan Greenberg, to not back the second $454 million bond, though apparently he gave it serious thought. Now the world is asking why Knight Specialty Insurance stepped in to back in a New York civil fraud case the second bond, which an appeals panel reduced from $454 million to $175 million. Trump will likely lose that appeal too. Knight Specialty Insurance is a unit of Los Angeles-based Knight Insurance Group, whose chairman is Don Hankey.
That is an unfortunate name.
Yeah, he's engaging in a little bit of hanky-panky here with his numbers. Mm-hmm. Then they go into like comparison about net worth, so who fucking cares about that shit? But Forbes calls Hankey the little-known king of the subprime car loans. So yeah, they said Westlake Financial Services, which is another one of Hankey's companies, charges interest on car loans to low-income people at 19% or higher. So that's credit card rates.
Yeah.
Like, for comparison, my car loan right now is at I think it's 9%, and I thought that was high when I got it. So yeah, and they repossess about 250 cars per day, that's a lot of cars. They were also not listed by Trump's lawyers as one of the 30 companies that Trump approached to back the bond when it was $454 million. All of the companies that he approached said no. Hankey told Forbes that he actually called Trump a few days before the bond was lowered to $175 million, which suggests that when Trump lawyers told the appeals court that meeting the $454 million bond was a practical impossibility was not entirely true. Trump's lawyers may have been lying. I know that's shocking.
Trump's lawyers specifically lying?
But this guy...
he has such a good track record. He had Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, this guy was calling Trump, good. Offering him a bond before it was lowered to $175 million. So I'm like, I know, that's crazy that they would lie about that. Then he said, I'd say it's more of a business decision, but I happen to be a supporter also. Wonder why a subprime lender would be a supporter of Donald Trump over Joe Biden. Could it be the lack of regulations that Trump favors?
It's hard to say. What was that old quote about the person, people who are dangerous tend to have tend to have people around them that are new all the time. They don't have like an established group of people. I don't remember the exact words, but it was words that were meant to describe someone who was fascist. And then it followed up with, I'm also describing current President Donald Trump back when he was president. Yeah. So it's I'm just curious in his brain what his selection process is for people. Like, is it just, are they sycophantic enough, whether or not they have the skills to do things like defend him in court without, lying?
It's interesting that you bring that up because initially when they filed for the bond, it was rejected because it turns out that the company that is securing it, Hankey's company, is not licensed in New York to do that sort of thing. So they were like missing a good chunk of the paperwork.
Oh,
and
that's not somebody you want doing this.
If this was anyone other than Donald Trump, that would have been the end of it. It'd be like, nope, bond rejected. I'm starting to repossess all your shit now. Or like Letitia James would be like, yep, nope, I am now taking possession of Trump Tower. Or like whatever they owned. If it was not Donald Trump, that's what would have happened. But because it is Donald Trump, they give him special treatment, and they're like, actually, you need to fill out this paperwork, and then it'll be okay.
You just need to do this the right way, and then we'll let bygones be bygones. Like that.
Yeah.
But if he's doing a thing that is effectively criminal, why are you okay just giving him slaps on the wrist? Especially when one of the benefits to a Trump presidency that has been hawked over and over and over again is that he's hard on crime. Like, he's a hard on crime president.
He's got a hard on for crime, all right. Yeah. So this is also not the first time Hankey has lent money to Trump, although it's a different company. Axos Financial lent him money for several different things before. And like Westlake Financial Services, the car thing, Axos, the other company that lent Trump money before, typically lends money in ways that like to small businesses at cripplingly high double and triple digit effective annual interest rates. Triple digit, that's 100% annual interest rate. It's a fucking loan shark. And that's at least 100%.
That's where you end up paying your loan back 15 times over, and they're just like, look, I'm sorry about what we're going to have to do to your family if you don't pay a little more. You understood exactly what we were asking when we had our conversation. We bailed you out, so we had your back. Now you got to have ours, or unfortunate things are going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So Hankey has extensive experience lending money to high-risk borrowers, but Trump is his first high-risk ex-president. So with an appeal bond, the lender doesn't protect himself against risk by charging high interest, but by charging a large fee up front. And this might actually be why a lot of the other companies were rejected him. Not necessarily because of the amount of the bond, but because if they didn't charge him enough, that could be considered an illegal campaign contribution. Which I'm not entirely sure how that works. I assume that whoever wrote this article did their homework on that one. So if I'm wrong, blame the article, not me.
It could be the fun middle ground where technically the person who wrote the article is correct, but also it will never matter.
Yeah.
Like all of the other things that Trump was able to do illegally and just never mattered.
Yeah, so they say, indeed, it would be risky for Hankey to charge Trump too little because that might be construed as an illegal campaign contribution comparable to the hush money payoffs for which Trump goes to trial later this month. That wrinkle is one of the many reasons that most surety firms are telling Trump thanks, but no thanks. So what do Trump's latest benefactors stand to gain in return? We can only speculate, but Hankey and Axos previously had reason to be grateful under Trump. The Office of the Comptroller of Currency enacted 2 regulations that allowed lenders to bypass state interest rate caps. So Trump has a track record of enacting policies that allow these guys to charge ridiculous interest rates. So...
And now
suddenly they're willing to give him money for
rates.
Yeah. Well, no, but now they're suddenly willing to give him all this money for his trials or whatever. I'm assuming because if he becomes president again, this will be a quid pro quo thing where he will continue to enact regulation or lack thereof that allows them to extort their customers. So yeah, no, I don't quite understand this last bit. There's a lawsuit with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau against these companies where, that's another hat. fuck off with the hats.
You set it up.
Santa hats. Yes, I did. So a judge...
Wasn't it? Man, I remember. I think it was Paula Gia who said, "Don't put up anything in your channel that you won't be willing to support full time."
Yeah, no, I will do my hats full time.
Well,
So a judge put the case on hold pending a Supreme Court ruling on whether the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau ought to even exist. Trump appointed 3 reactionary justices to the High Court, and if he wins the second term, he could appoint, by some calculations, as many as 4 more. So that's all of them, basically. Well, no, that's 7 of 9, which, no, I'm not going to say that because 7 of 9 is fucking awesome.
Fun will now commence.
But it is 7 out of 9.
Jesus.
If he gets all these Supreme Court justices, they will rule in these companies' favor to charge ridiculous interest rates and basically punish poor people for being poor while making themselves rich in the process. But also, like, there was a thing with the with this thing where, like, part of the contract was that they're actually not accepting liability. It's still all on Trump. They're just like, they're in spirit, basically. I don't know. It's weird.
We're praying for you, Trump.
It is fucking weird. I don't understand how it's even legal. And, there's a hearing on April 22nd that Engoron is going to determine whether or not that's actually a legitimate thing, like whether or not this company can do that for him. I'm assuming the answer is going to come back no, unless they change quite a bit about how they're doing it, because right now it's ridiculous. Editing Rhino here. If my calculations are correct, that video should be going live shortly after the 22nd, so sound off in the comments as to whether or not my predictions were even close to what actually happened.